Today, for the very first time, we are going to be listening to the brand new Spiritbox EP. This is The Fear of Fear.
And this is where you play James yelling, "Fighting the fear of fear."
Metallica fans would love that, that's for sure.
They sure would.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to not another album reaction, because we all know that EPs are not albums. They do not count. I don't care if your EP is 157 minutes long. The moment you attach EP to it, it becomes inconsequential to me, and I don't care. So that's why we're doing this. But
I would say, for me, it becomes a preview of what's to come.
yes, hopefully all these songs would make it on an album. Although, this is an interesting... We're doing this because we love Spiritbox, and I want to hear their new songs. But when you release an EP that's like this meaty and chunky, you know, 6-song EP, I would almost be disappointed if next year they wrote another 6 songs and then released these 6 songs with those 6 songs as an album, you know? Because to me, it would almost be like... I just like the idea of a band going in and recording the album. You know what I mean? But whatever. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So Chris and I are both fans of Spiritbox.
You more so than me.
Yeah, the year that it came out, which I have their actual album here, Eternal Blue, and the year that this came out, which was just a few years ago, 2021, I had this on my list, but I can't remember if you did on yours.
I don't think I did. I appreciate Spiritbox a lot, but I don't really listen to them ever.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and you know...
Which is a mistake, but it's one of those bands that's like, this is... Every time I hear it, I think this is great. Why don't I listen to this more? And it just doesn't make it into my rotation.
Hold on, this stupid thing bent in again. Also, I am sweating. There's beads of sweat falling off of me.
What would it be if you weren't sweating profusely?
My God, it wouldn't be a 2023, that's for sure. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Spiritbox. However, not big enough to know any of their music other than what's on this album. So I do know that they have older music. They have older EPs and everything. I never really got into those. I do know Rule of Nines.
I thought that was their first album. Wasn't it their first album?
This is their first debut album. Like this is their debut album.
Okay.
But they have, I think, like it said on Wiki just now when I was trying to look it up that this is their 4th EP. So,
well, as we previously discussed, EPs don't count.
Yeah, what do those matter? So I do know that at one point though, before this, they released like a 7-song collection of songs, like a 7-song collection, and I think it was songs that they had been putting out like for years. And I don't think any of them were repeated on here. So this was like, yeah, full. When this album came out, because they released Holy Roller and kind of, I think, exploded in a way that they weren't expecting. The popularity of that song was, I think, jarring to them. And we talked about this because I did have them on my list in 2021 on our top 12 albums of the year lists. I did have this on my list. And one of the things I talked about was that I thought that they felt so much pressure after Holy Roller became so popular that it totally threw them off. Because Holy Roller came out in 2020. And Chris, you and I both said at the end of our top 12 albums of 2020 that if they released an album that was as good as that song, that it would be like the #1 album of the year. However, what happened was... it took them a long time to make the album because they had to reconcile with themselves that they are not a band that is as heavy as that song.
I was going to say, that song is the song that is like the least like every other song on that album.
My headphones, what are they hitting? Is it this? It was that. Weird. Anyway, sorry. Yes, and so Holy Roller, I think, was a song they did kind of for fun, and they didn't expect it, and so they didn't want that to sort of dictate them moving forward. However, there are a lot of very heavy moments on this album, and I think they're there because of Holy Roller, and I think also just because of who they are as a band. Courtney LaPlante is known for her screaming vocals. She was one of the previous vocalists for I Wrestled a Bear Once, which is almost all screaming vocals, this crazy, you know, very... chaotic vocal style of music that I Wrestled a Bear Once is. And So I'm not too sure what to expect from this. I will say, Chris, I saw someone post a comment on one of Spiritbox's like Facebook posts that, or maybe it was, I don't remember what it was. It might have been a headline to an article or something that popped up somewhere for me, but it said that their heaviest song ever is on this EP.
Oh.
So that's really interesting to me, first of all.
All right. All right.
And
can we get, do you want to guess which one it is?
Yeah, let's look at the song listing. Well, we know just from looking at the wiki page right now that Jaded, the second song, is the one that was nominated for a Grammy for Best Male Performance, so it's definitely not that. Ultraviolet, to me, just doesn't sound right. I'm going to say too close. Well, actually, if we look at the length of the songs, it's probably Angel Eyes.
That's what mine was my first go-to was the length of the song.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I was overthinking it. I was looking at the titles of the songs, and I thought "Too Close, Too Late." That sounds like it could be.
For the sake of having different answers, I'm going to go with The Void.
But yeah, Angel Eyes is definitely what it is. I'm pretty sure because of the length of the song. You're absolutely right. Don't remember how long. I don't know if it says. Yeah, Holy Roller, 2 minutes 53 seconds.
Jeez, man.
They have several other songs that are, well, they have one other song, We Live in a Strange World, that is less than 3 minutes. Every other song is over 3.5. One kind of odd thing I want to mention right away is that I have the formatting of this video set up a little bit different. If people who are here because you're a fan of all our Metallica videos on my channel, which if you're new here for Spiritbox, just know that this entire year we went back and listened to all of the Metallica albums. I heard them all for the very first time. So we have very long, awesome, very in-depth Metallica discussions and reactions going through all of their studio albums. We just released Hardwired to Self-Destruct last week, I think. And yeah, so we're so happy with how all of those videos went. And so check those out if you're a Metallica fan. And I
can't believe that you wouldn't have already and that you're here for any reason besides that. But welcome.
Yeah, but people might be searching for Spiritbox. And Spiritbox is a big like reaction thing online. So people
That's good to know.
People might be searching. And we might be one of the only people that attempts to do the whole EP. And then we'll probably get copyright blocked, and so I'll have to upload this whole video without any of the music in it, which means no one's going to watch it anyway, which means we're just here to have fun for ourselves.
Yep, this is all pointless.
But anyway, the whole point of this conversation was the reason we are a little bit more stretched out and wider, and you see more of the top and below us here is because this is how we formatted our top 12 albums of the year videos in the past. And I like that because I get to put the little picture of the album there, album artwork above and below us. And I think it's really cool to do that. Plus, who cares how far away we are from the camera or how little we are on your screen? No one cares, and no one wants to see the very close-up details of my face. Trust me.
I can definitely see how much sweating you're doing now.
Yeah. Yeah, my hair's wet too.
Man, oh man.
But anyway, also, I guess on that note, I should mention too, I have a cough drop off to the side because the eternal year of being sick forever is continuing into December. We are recording this on December 1st, and the reason I'm wearing my One Republic shirt is because after we're done recording this, Chris and I are going to record a video talking about the new Peter Gabriel album, which I'm very excited about. And as I think about it, will probably be out before this video, so it doesn't matter at all. But if you're watching this video and you haven't checked that one out, I highly expect that video to be super awesome because of what the new Peter Gabriel album is. And I'm not going to tell you what it is now. You have to go check out our video to find out what it actually is and why it's so special.
I'm wearing my Carpenter Brute shirt because I like it.
And actually, I think we're going to get a lot of cool electronics, and we're going to get some heavy stuff here, and we'll get some good vocals, hopefully. One of the things that surprised me the most about Eternal Blue is the sort of 90s aesthetic that it had. Some of the, you know, Courtney's vocal styling when she wasn't screaming reminded me a lot of sort of like some of the 90s rockers and everything like that. And getting into the early 2000s as well. But there was a lot of, you know, melodies and things that were very surprising to me. It felt very much, moments of it at least, with the electronics and everything, and the way everything sounded felt very like 1997 to 2005 to me.
Interesting.
Which was a really cool thing to hear because you don't get a lot of that, at least in terms of, well, maybe now we are getting to the point where early 2000s music is going to be influential, but to actually aim for some of that stuff, I think is kind of unique. So, one other thing we have that I have to point out here, and I'm doing this solely because we're having fun. I have a bowl of French fries, and I'm going to eat them.
Now.
I'm going to eat them.
Oh yeah.
While we are listening.
I thought it was only I am allowed to eat on camera.
Oh no. And don't worry, listener, watcher. I will cut out the sounds of me eating them. However, if I'm speaking and there's something in my mouth, I'll have to leave it in there.
Yep.
People are always like, "Oh no, it's turned into an ASMR video."
I cannot hear that. That's silent.
They will. You can't hear it because the compression of the internet and stuff. But like, I could rub my facial hair on the microphone.
I cannot hear that either.
Oh, they can hear this so good.
Silent.
So, okay, that was getting a little weird. So,
can you hear this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear this?
No. I hear the tapping.
Yeah, so there's just like a gate on the internet.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, whatever. At least you're recording on your end, I'm recording on my end. It should all sound good.
Right.
So I don't have anything else to say about this. I just want to listen to it and have a good time.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to bring up?
I do not. Let's do it.
Okay. Oh. Drink-wise, I'm bringing out Rain. This is a energy drink that I was going to drink for the Hardwired video, but I didn't need it. So for those of you who don't know, I've been buying different energy drinks to try them for our big videos, and I'm going to go buy something. Maybe I'll try Red Bull or something for the first time when we're doing our top 12 albums to celebrate.
Do you like Smarties, the candy?
They're okay.
That's Red Bull.
Is that what Red Bull smells? Really?
Yeah, exact same flavor.
I wouldn't think that it would be that sweet. I don't know why I think
they don't hit the same. It doesn't hit the same as Smarties because it's a liquid, but the flavor's the same.
Okay, I just want to see what color this is.
Clear. Oh.
Totally clear. Yep. Okay, so it's clear. Ooh, and by the way, it is razzleberry flavor.
Grazzle?
Razzle.
Ah.
Like the old razzle dazzle.
Yep, razzleberry.
Trying it for the very first time. It tastes just like the one I had the other day. The other sort of blueberry one. That's a completely different flavor. It was Aftershock, the A-Shock one. Ashock. Yeah. Ashock. Someone in our comment section works for the distribution of that company, so they knew all about it.
That's interesting. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cellar Door, which is awesome right away because I'm a big fan of Donnie Darko.
Same. My exact thoughts when I saw the title.
Love it. I'm glad we both went there.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
I am.
Cellar Door in 3, 2, 1. All right. Not starting out just with a bang, with the whimper.
Mm-hmm.
Drums sound much more realistic.
That sounds good.
This is awesome. Wow. If that was the chorus and we get that again, we may have been wrong.
About this being the heaviest?
The heaviest one, because this so far, damn. It's very jarring in places.
No clean vocals so far. Interesting effect.
It's like a different key or something almost, this part. Okay, now usually Spiritbox does not do choruses a third time. They like to have a bridge and then the whole song kind of changes.
Okay, because this is a nearly 5-minute song, so there's room for both.
Yeah. This is so much more metal.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'm getting a cramp in my neck.
Good.
Oh.
That'll teach you
To like something, damn it.
to not like more of this type of stuff.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Okay, back to the chorus. If the whole EP is as good as this song, Chris, could I have an EP on my top 12 albums of the year list?
You wouldn't.
It'd be disqualified.
You would simply spend 25 minutes talking about it in the honorable mentions section.
I love this building up.
I think this is going to be a fade out.
No, they're just, well, maybe. It's so ominous.
It is.
And that was such a Spiritbox thing too. Like they had such ominous sounding like atmospherics in their music. That was why Holy Roller was so cool.
Does this count as a fade out? I don't think it does.
I wouldn't count this, no.
Yeah.
Because these are just sound effects and stuff. This is awesome. Is it going to into the next song, though?
Oh, boy, it might. It looks like it wants to.
Don't let it. Don't let it. I stopped it. I want to hear. That was amazing.
That was great.
That was so heavy.
It was, and if that's not the heaviest, boy, oh boy.
Yeah, the thing that right away stuck out to me is how much more that sounded like a band rather than sounding like I would say sonically Eternal Blue sounds a little bit like In This Moment. You know, it doesn't sound like any of the drums are like real drums really. You know, I'm sure someone played them and everything was replaced and everything, or maybe even done on electronic drum kit. But it definitely has that more of an electronic-y sound to it, kind of like In This Moment. And this was very metal. The kick drum choice in particular, because I'm sure this was recorded the same way. I doubt that this was recorded, like I doubt that those are the actual kick drum and snare drum, you know, that you're hearing. Maybe the cymbals are what you're hearing is what was played, but I'm sure those other two elements for sure, if not the toms as well, maybe the hi-hat even, were replaced, which is totally fine. I'm not saying that in a negative way. But I thought the choice for the way the drums sounded immediately made the song sound more like a metal song and less like an electronic sort of modern metal thing.
Yeah.
And it gave it this more of a band feel. I hate to use the word because it's been such a controversial word, but more of like a raw feel to me. You know, more of like a band actually performing rather than, you know, and so I really enjoyed the way that was mixed.
Mm-hmm. I think it sounded great. Vocals everything was right spot on where it needed to be. I was worried at first when it was like in the drums in the beginning. It sounded like in there somewhere was this very, very tiny cymbal that I was almost imperceptible. And I was like, is this going to be one of those drum mixes that doesn't have any of the highs in it? Which one of my favorite bands, Protest the Hero, does all the time. Like their cymbals are just 100 miles away in all their drum mixes. But nope. They came screaming out. It was great.
Yep. And I think her vocals were great, like you said. Mix-wise, really good. A couple times in the song, they did that like spread out, almost like, and I think she can do this, almost like there was like a pitch shifter on one of the tracks to make it like just insane. But I think she can. She obviously can do multiple pitches when she's, you know, screaming and stuff. Which for those of you who haven't seen her one take performances of Holy Roller and Rule of Nines on whatever YouTube channel it's on. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, it's floating around. It was a huge video.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen those videos, I highly recommend it. It's a really good video to showcase how someone can scream and sing at the same time and everything. So, but yeah, that was amazing. I'm like super pumped to hear the rest of the album now. I don't think the rest of the album is going to sound that way, but if it sounded heavier like that, I would be like very pleasantly surprised in a really good way.
Let's do it. Let's find out.
Yeah, let's move on to track 2. This is Jaded. This is the song that we found out from the wiki page they've been nominated for a Grammy for Best Metal Performance. So I'm assuming this is going to be a lot more radio pop friendly. So,
yeah.
All right, this is Jaded in 3, 2, 1. Definitely a continuation of this sort of atmosphere that was happening before.
It's very, very distant vocals. Oh, guitars sound really good.
The guitars sound phenomenal.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, it sounds good. Thank you for putting the vocals in the proper place they go volume-wise.
Yes.
Ooh, overlapping vocals. Acoustic guitar. Just strummed, I think, being used as like a percussive element.
Yeah, because there's very little guitar in that way, I would say otherwise.
This is almost like Deftones-y, kind of.
Yes.
That was great.
That acoustic strumming you're talking about sounds almost like there's a shaker in there, too.
Yeah, it could have been a shaker, but I'm pretty sure it was acoustic.
Yeah.
I wish more than anything they would let them perform this at the Grammys. And they'd actually broadcast it on television. Ariana Grande and what's that lady's name? Anyone who's popular right now. They'd fall over themselves. Heyo. Did you stay listening the whole time?
Yep.
Okay, good.
This reminds me so much of something, and I can't think of what.
That's what I thought their whole album. Yes. Oh?
I bet this jumps into the next song.
Oh, they're nah, it'll fade out. Maybe. Oh, it's like reverse keys jingling. Okay, all right, it did go right into that.
Weird. It did, but it didn't. Like the next song was just like a. That's it. Next song.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That one, huge, awesome chorus. Lots of layers of her vocals. That's the part that stuck out to me the most. But also still the heaviness of the guitars. The drums weren't super heavy. You know, they weren't doing like crazy double bass or anything, at least the most part. I was a little distracted in the middle there where you were gone, but I was listening to it still.
Same.
Yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about that song? You said it kind of was reminding you of something?
It does. It reminds me of another band or another song or something. I cannot think. Oh, good. The leaf blower crew is here, so we'll have to contend with that.
Yeah, that's all right.
But
probably won't be able to tell.
But I can't figure out what it is yet, and I'm wondering if we get enough of that same style from them the rest of this EP, if it'll hit me at some point. But
see,
I will say, I was considering picking the first song earlier before the heaviest one, but I thought 444
for a heavy one
seems like. For the heaviest song, I don't know. That's a lot, but maybe they might make a fool of me yet.
Now, I definitely will say, for this being the song that was nominated for the Grammy or whatever, like this was still a heavy song. Like they had in the first verse started and it was clean vocals, and then it went into harsh vocals, and then there was the big chorus. You know, there's a little pre-chorus part where it's clean vocals, and I thought that maybe that was the chorus and that they were going to go back and do then another verse, and I was like. You might be able to see it on my face in the reaction. Like, I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh, no, don't. And then huge chorus came in, and I was like, yeah. So then after that, they went right into the second verse, and the second verse started with harsh vocals. So, and that was pretty much the whole second verse. It was kind of like a half verse. And then they did the pre-chorus again, and then right into the chorus again. So... yeah, I loved it. This is incredible. If this was a full album, this would easily be up on my list. Now, they still have time to screw all this up, but based on the way it sounds and how good these first two songs were, I'm so loving this.
And it's consistent so far.
So far.
Like,
yeah.
This is probably, I mean, considering this song was Grammy nom, then this is probably their single.
Yeah.
And so far... it doesn't have that single problem that so many songs do where that sounds different than the rest of the album.
Right.
So far.
Yeah.
It's only an EP and they've had one other song, but we're off to a good start.
I'm wondering if we're going to get like a ballady song. Because one of my favorite songs off of Eternal Blue was one of the songs that had really no guitars on it. It was mostly just sort of like the first half of it was very chill with her singing. Just atmospheric stuff. And then the second half, this really cool electronic drum beat came in, and it was almost like a trip-hop song. And I loved that. So I don't know, but if they consider this to be an EP and they consider this to be its own standalone work, then I'm wondering if maybe they wanted it to feel more cohesive, you know, than an album. Like, because or at least than Eternal Blue. Because Eternal Blue felt like it was cohesive, but there was so many electronics to it. So far, this feels very much more like a band performing, and that happens sometimes when a band gets really huge because I'm going to keep referring to this as their first album, but I understand that they made music before that and probably too.
Yeah, but I mean, it is their first album, and I think that's an appropriate way to approach it.
Right, but my point was going to be that they released their album, and then what did they do? They went out as a band, and they performed these songs on the stage as a band, and so a lot of bands you know, this album was probably crafted by the main guy in the band, like Courtney's husband or whatever, I'm not sure if they're dating or married or what or not. Maybe they're not at all, and I just made that up. So I apologize if that's the case. But the guy who plays guitar and does everything in this band, like, he probably made a majority of everything you heard on this album himself, right? And and so then for this EP, this is them as a band trying to sound like a band, because they've been performing as a band now for the last 2 years, you know, going around the world touring. And so a lot of bands' sophomore albums sound a lot more like a band performing, or a little bit more raw, because they probably wrote a lot of the album when they were on the road, and they're just used to sounding like a band performing
now they're
live.
getting into the groove of being a band instead of forming and having, you know, using a bunch of different elements to sort of smooth over the, you know, whatever growing pains they have as becoming a whole unit.
Exactly, 100%. And so that was going to kind of be my point there. But the only thing is, like, so far right now is the disappointment I'm feeling in my stomach that this is just an EP.
Yeah.
Because those 2 songs were incredible. And like I said, and was joking around, like, this is 25 minutes long, right? 25 minutes long. Even if
I don't know, one more song and it's Hybrid Theory, you know, it's almost an album.
pretty much. So yeah, I don't know. Let's just keep listening, and we can discuss the whole thing overall, because I'm getting a little far ahead of myself. I'm just like, what if I like this so much that I can't?
I can't wait for this to force you to put an EP on your list.
We'll see. Okay, the next track is the track that I initially thought was going to be the heaviest one, Too Close, Too Late. It's the longest track on the album. No, other than the first track, 441. So now I'm going to guess that this is going to be the ballad.
That's what I was going to say too. I think, especially given the title, I've seen several other titles in different songs. Like, this is obviously barely a scrap of comparison, but plenty of other albums or plenty of other bands, most specifically Nothing More, who I love. And I think have you listened to them? Do you know them?
Just what you've showed me in our top 12 albums video.
We should do that sometime.
Did they release a new album this year?
Not this year. I think it was last year.
Right. This year, I think they released a deluxe edition of that album.
Okay.
Maybe just be instrumental stuff. I don't know.
Maybe I'll cheat and put it on my list. But
nope, not allowed.
But they do a lot of song name/name on their their epic ballads.
Sure.
So that's a thing that I would use to make a choice here. But let's find out.
This is my last fry. Let me just savor this real quick.
We'll see.
No, it is my last fry.
Oh,
I'm not joking around. Now, if I want to eat anything, I've got to eat my cough drop.
Perfect after dinner mint.
Okay. I got to calm down. Too Close, Too Late. In 3, 2, 1. Ooh, Wurlitzer, distorted.
Ooh, I don't think I would have called it that. That's great.
I feel alive again.
Ooh, the bass.
Started with the fear of falling into an hourglass. Voices in the void are calling. Wrap me in your arms. Waterfalls, endless as they drag me down into the dark of it all. Can your heaven help me? Is this the end or is this the beginning? There are stranger things I've learned on the outside, separated by an open door. I find it hard to reach the end of my timeline, salivating 'cause I wanted more. Is this the end or is this the beginning?
Okay.
Am I allowed again to call out what I need to hear? To be a conduit, conditioned by the fear of fear. Wrap me in.
Oh, she said it.
Down into the dark. Is this what you want me to be? Perfect and clean, float on a temporary
Ah, they are good.
Yeah, they are.
No one else is making music like this right now. And trust me, I've heard a lot of bands this year that are trying to do this. Oh, are they missing it by miles compared to this? Whew. There's like a level of professionalism to the audio here that like goes beyond. Like this is made by a dude that knows how to craft audio. Pitch shifted audio or male background vocals. Male background vocals.
I think it's shifted.
You think? We both just said the opposite thing. I think you're right.
Pacing is exactly, yeah, it's like granularly perfect.
Oh, I thought maybe we'd get a heavy, but no, okay. That kick drum is perfect for the way everything else sounds around it. It's not overbearing.
The cymbals are almost non-existent.
Okay. So this is actually a lot more like cliche of a song than the previous one.
Cliche for the genre or for the band?
Cliche for songwriting. Like this is like pop song.
Yeah.
What writing?
This part reminds me of Birthday Massacre.
A little double tempo here.
Another 20-second outro.
Yes, I love this. I love that they're doing this. Pads out the album, but I don't even care. Ooh.
Next song? Is it moving right in?
Next song is going to be a banger.
Oh, yeah. Here it comes.
Okay, just stop it. Stop. I heard a little, and I'm like, no, stop. Okay, I have a lot to say about that, but what are your thoughts first?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll go first.
I think it's great. I mean, yeah, I really like it a lot. I'm just trying to pick out something that I think would be like specifically novel to bring up.
Yeah.
In terms of how it sounds and stuff, and a lot of it sort of came up during the song. So
I know we're doing pretty good with that, which is good. I wanted to talk during the music a little bit more. Yeah, no, the first thing I thought of when that first chorus kicked in was something that to me was a little bit of an issue with their first album. And a lot of bands do this. I maintain always that the intensity of the music has to match the intensity of the vocal performance. Right? And so sometimes this is all my opinion, by the way, this is not like any sort of a rule or anything like that.
So screaming over piano wouldn't work out for you.
No, it would. I think.
Okay.
I think the vocals have to match or go beyond the intensity of the music, or it doesn't work.
Okay.
And so where my issue with that comes in is if you have a band that's just like going absolutely crazy, right? And then the vocals are just this like soft, singy, like, it just doesn't work very well for me. And that's one of the reasons it's hard for me to enjoy some of the bands that maybe not a good thing to say, but some of the bands that you've shown me in the past, like the metal bands that you like, that are a little bit more of the, like, maybe they're a little bit heavy during the verses and then the choruses are all, singy, is that sometimes the band wants to be, I feel, a little bit heavier than the vocalist's melodies want it to be. And so there can be like a contrast in there that I don't like as much. And with Spiritbox, in this chorus, what they did was when she started singing the chorus, the guitars and the drums were just doing the stereotypical like rock band that's been heavy during the song, and then for the chorus they just kind of open chord, right? It's just very much like everything's technical before that, and then the chorus comes in. It's just this soaring,
That's what
simplistic.
Demon Hunter does, right?
Yep, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do that a lot, but they do different things as well. But yes, that's a good example of a band that does it well, I think. And also with Demon Hunter too, he does lots of vocal layering. So
Sure.
even if your lead vocal is not necessarily matching the intensity, if you have like 10 vocal tracks and the whole thing sounds massive, to me that is matching the intensity when you combine the whole all vocals together.
Yeah.
But sometimes with music like this, like Courtney wants to sing this beautiful melody, but the music wants to keep doing Holy Roller. You know what I mean? Just as not Holy Roller, but like they just want to keep playing heavy, right? Mm-hmm. And to me, that can cause a bit of like a disconnect sometimes.
You're right. There is an interesting disconnect that I recognize that being true for in their previous album. I can't think of the song specifically.
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
But yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the reason I bring that up is because the other thing I said during that, while we were listening there, was I have been going through and listening to so much music that came out this year, just like an insane amount. We recently got our Spotify Wrapped things. I'm sure you checked yours out, Chris.
Oh, I have not seen mine yet.
Oh, well, you probably have you been using Spotify recently?
I guess I haven't opened. When did this start?
Just a couple days ago.
I think I probably just haven't opened Spotify since then, but that's
Okay.
great. I can't wait to go look at it.
Yeah, you'll have to check it out. But for me, the only number that mattered, or that I thought was interesting at least, was I've listened to 711 different artists this year.
That's so much, man.
I would say probably... Well, okay, I don't want to be ridiculous, but I've listened to probably at least samples of 150 albums over the last, like, just several weeks getting ready for our top 12. And no! Hold on, my furnace kicked on.
So?
It's so loud, Chris.
I can't hear it.
Yeah, I know, but we've already established that you've got that, like, you can't hear my beard scratching thing going on. Hold on, I've got to send a text to my mommy to shut it off. So my whole point was going to be that I have listened to, I would guess, and this is not an exaggeration, 30 metal bands that have female vocalists who try to do what Courtney is doing.
Okay.
Singing and screaming, right? Now, just 5 years ago, if you would have been able to find 10 bands doing that in a year, like that would have been a miracle. Like there's
in a year, yeah, that's true.
So few metal bands just 5 to 10 years ago, for sure. 10 years ago, a long time, much longer than 5. But like this new rise of female-fronted metal bands, I love, and I think it's great because I've been listening to symphonic metal for my entire adult life, which is all female-fronted metal. But there's very little. Actually, I can't even think of a single female that sings for a symphonic metal band that also screams. I don't know of anyone that does that. Mm-hmm. But these bands that like Spiritbox, In This Moment, Ginger, really created a thing.
Arch Enemy.
Well, Arch Enemy, but they started out only screaming for many, many, many years.
Female vocalist all the time, though, yeah?
Yes. Yep. Angela Glassow, very famous. Probably the first female screaming vocalist, but yes, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because that's kind of the point that I was going to make. I don't know enough about Arch Enemy. I just know that sometime in the last several years, they got a new vocalist, and I was just like, wow, she's so good. And it was one of the first times that I had seen female screaming vocals that were like, to exist at all. And I feel like it was a big door opener.
Yeah, yeah, and their previous singer Angela was like, yeah, because they started back like when, they started back in like the late 90s with Angela Glassow. So they've been doing it forever, and that's a great example of like kind of, but my new point is, the point I'm trying to make now is that there are a lot of, I almost feel like the door was opened, like the glass ceiling was busted. And so now any lady singer that can scream and sing is like, let's go. And I love that. I love this. This is all a positive thing is what I'm saying. However, this year I listened to probably 30 albums by bands that are trying to do this, what we're listening to. And oh my gosh, if it is not done this good, it hurts to listen to sometimes. And a lot of that doesn't have to do so much with the performance as it does with just amateur mixing, bands not having as much money, obviously, as Spiritbox does. You know, so this is a little bit of an exception to the rule, but I have listened to so many female-fronted metal bands this year that, honestly, like, the albums suck. They just suck. And it's really disappointing because you can tell that they are, like, super heavily inspired by, like, In This Moment and Spiritbox, specifically, I would say. And they have all these cool aesthetics, but there's just something missing from their formula. And whether that's a performance thing or it's a actual, like, you know, audio thing, that just makes it really disappointing because you can see what they're trying to grab for, but because we have stuff like this, it's almost like impossible to reach the standards of this because it's so fantastic. And look, I talked long enough. The furnace shut off. So all
Beautiful.
right, we're ready for track 4. I'm also what's the word when you're putting something off? I'm
Procrastinating?
no, I'm
Vamping?
no, what the hell? Stalling because I don't want this to end, and if after we listen to this song, we'll be over half done. So, all right, this is track 4, Angel Eyes, the shortest song, which I think is going to rip. You ready?
And the build-up makes it seem like it's gonna rip.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, those drums. Yeah, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Yep.
That like tone, that like
Yep.
that is Spiritbox in a
Really?
nutshell. Oh,
Interesting.
just a constant thing. Interesting here. She's like speaking it on the sides. Ooh, technical.
Interesting change.
That guitar riff. Oh. Oh, that's cool. Every song so far has gone back to the chorus a third time. I just want to point that out. Ah! Oh, holding it out that extra little beat. Whew. Ooh, that was weird.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Hard cut right into the next thing. It's like hearing an edit.
Yeah, that was strange. Intentional, I think, though.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is only the second time we've had the chorus here. Love those stutters. Dude, this is awesome.
That high synthy thing that you were talking about early on, in that chorus, it was like building almost like a siren. Like it would just get higher every time that went through. It would go up a little bit more, and it was really doing a lot to build like the power and the suspense of that whole section.
Interesting. I didn't notice that at all. I was so focused on the riff. That song really showcased like the technical ability of Spiritbox. So that was amazing.
That edit was interesting. That hard cut out of the vocal into the next part. Like, there's no way that went through all of the ears that this hits before it gets to us, and nobody noticed it. So it's got to be an intentional thing. But it was interesting. Yeah,
I heard something similar to that in one of the earlier songs as well, where it was like, and because clearly that is like like you're editing and you delete like. You have everything to the grid and you just grab everything and just delete it. And there's just like a moment of, you got to go in and add the fades to everything so it doesn't pop. Right. But that is clearly like an editing thing. And there's a metric song that does something just like that I've always been really curious about. Like you hear it and you're like, wait, is that supposed to be that way? I love stuff like that. Because odds are it probably is supposed to be that way. But like you were saying with that, whatever. But yeah, we also know that there's crazy stuff that falls through the cracks as well. So it's like, I like that a lot. I personally, in a song structured like that, that's a little shorter, I don't mind that they only did the chorus twice.
Yeah.
That's, no, Holy Roller, I think, did go to the chorus 3 times. Well, Holy Roller didn't really it doesn't matter. But in this instance, this song, I think I liked the structuring of it and I liked the way it worked. And I think it really showcased, like I said, the technical aspect of the band. So
that song was a really good example of the type of this, it pushes it all the way up to the edge of the level of this type of music that I don't like.
Okay.
Where it's like, there's no melody in there. Like the fact that you were able to pinpoint the chorus was to me like, really? What makes you say that? Like, how do you know that this is the chorus? Like it almost lacks, like it loses musicality in a certain way.
I can see that.
It just becomes an assault.
Yeah.
And not in a way that is necessarily bad. I love assault.
Sure.
But I would definitely move into, I'm always going to gravitate towards something that's much more melodic than that style there.
Yeah, I can. Now, let me ask this. Controversial. Do you think that song was heavier than track 1?
See, now we're doing that thing. I think that it was.
So do you think this is the song they were talking about?
Yeah. I think so. I don't know how, it's an interesting piece too, because it's like, once again, what is heavy? And I think that there's going to be a couple of different answers to that.
Right.
Because in this particular instance, I would use heavy as a definition of something that's moving further and further away from what you would normally consider to be music.
Mainstream.
In the sense that it would be melodic. And so it's like, now we're just getting into what is effectively cannon fire, and that's going to be pretty heavy.
I think that the first song was heavier. And I will say shortly, because I'm not going to talk about it for 40 minutes.
We'll see.
I think that the chorus part on that first song was a lot more dissonant and slower. And it felt like something that would be far less likely for a person who was into... Like, I would almost think that you would enjoy this song we just listened to a lot more than that first song.
Huh.
Because... I think that the slower, lower tuned, more dissonant stuff, I would think would kind of scare people away more easily than this song, which was faster. The size of the song, is a little bit more bite size because it's so much shorter. But this song was more technical, so you hear the guitars going in there, which I think a lot of people can gravitate towards a little bit more than just going. Just heavy, chuggy, breakdown riffs, I feel scare people away more so than technical stuff.
It
but I
depends
don't
on
know.
it depends on what we're talking about that's scaring people away. Like if we're talking about like
I feel
actual,
like what I mean is less mainstream.
yeah.
I don't think that there's a right answer. I think it's fun to
I just
talk
think
about, but
that I think the further away from something melodic that you can hum to yourself, that you can sort of, sing along with in any capacity whatsoever, like even just have the hook of the melody in your head after the song is gone. I think the further are you away from that, the less accessible it's going to be.
Okay.
For most people.
Yeah. Okay. And based on that, I think personally the first song had less of that than this one.
Because I think there's definitely an argument to be made for like, once you get into the really sludgy, chuggy stuff, like you were just talking about, melody isn't present there either. So that's kind of a moot point.
But it's almost like what? I don't know. To me, I guess I think of it more. It is interesting to think about. Like I think about it more like what's repelling people, right? What would be pushing people away rather than what could someone grab onto?
Yeah.
But I'm constantly surprised by things, like that Lorna Shore album from last year, which I always bring up because to me it was such an anomaly. But like I watched reaction channels where people who primarily just listen to like Eminem and Will Smith listen to Lorna Shore and were like moved to tears watching the music video. Now
That's insane.
Yeah. Now, like the main reason for it is because they made really great music videos that have nothing to do with the songs. Really, don't come at me, bro, because I don't care about the lyrics. But like Lorna Shore is like, to me, the furthest thing away from accessible mainstream music imaginable. And last year, I watched so many channels.
I've seen this happen.
It's just crazy to me what people are willing to accept. And I like that on one hand, but on the other hand, it's just like so unbelievable to me. It's like, are you just putting on your like fake reaction hat? But then you can't fake being emotionally impacted by something.
Right, like a reaction's a reaction. You know?
So like I don't know, it's a really interesting thing. Like at the end of the day, I wish everyone on earth was forced to listen to Spiritbox, so that they knew what they were and like stuff like this could become more mainstream.
Yeah.
So
I
like,
mean, this type of music is, metal in general, and without splitting too many hairs for this,
right.
for this comment that is neither here nor there. Like, metal is very mainstream in places like the Netherlands and Sweden and stuff like that, where it's like that's what you get on the radio. That's
Scandinavian
countries.
That's
the type of
you watch Norway's Got Talent. They're doing black metal vocals.
Exactly,
so like, and
which
it's not a joke. It's not a joke.
And I love that.
Yeah, 100%.
So it totally could be. It could absolutely be something where it's like, let's, whatever it takes to make this
look at
more mainstream.
Look at what we're even saying. A song off of this album was nominated for a Grammy. That's awesome.
Which is great.
Yeah.
It is very fantastic.
So like, we don't need to dwell on it anymore, but like it is such an interesting thing.
And I think it will continue to be more prevalent as we get further and further away from
I think so.
The leftovers of the satanic panic era of like the late 80s and 90s and stuff.
And I've seen a lot, like I feel like almost this year there was almost a bit of like a trend for a little while where it was like which celebrities actually like metal music, and it was trying to find like the most shocking, because people talk about Margot Robbie all the time.
Yeah.
Because she like legitimately loves these crazy heavy bands.
Good.
But then at the same time, like Ariana Grande, who I mention all the time on stuff, I know barely nothing about her, but like she'll tweet out like, God, love the new whatever. And it's like, that is like as hard as you can get, what she's listening to. So like, I feel like we're getting more like pop culture metal stuff. And I feel like it's less because of the shock of it. Like the shock is almost wearing off. Of metal,
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the reaction stuff too. But like once the shock wears off, I can't wait till we get to the point where people, like the layperson, can debate about metal subgenres and stuff.
When metal becomes as normalized as pop.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, is like pop music has been around so much longer than metal has in this country at the very least.
For sure.
It's like there was no metal when the Beatles were, a big deal.
Okay, whatever. That's okay. The Void, track 5.
Void.
You ready? 3, 2, 1. Ooh. I like that. Boop, 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 boop. clean electric guitars. This to me is what I meant when I was like early 2000s, late 90s. That sort of clean guitar tone sound.
This sounds like Garbage, the band. That spot right there in the middle, big time.
Yep. This sounds like it could have been on Eternal Blue.
Oh?
So far, I don't think any of these other songs sound like that.
I agree.
But it's still mixed like the other songs on this EP.
Because this so far is the most clean vocals of any of the songs, right?
Yeah.
100%. Which I think that previous album was a lot of.
It was mostly clean vocals by a large margin.
Yeah.
That's why I'm really surprised with the heaviness here. Her clean vocals are so unique. She has a lower register voice for a singing female, and I love that. It makes her so unique. She's so good. You know, if they wrote some of these songs back in like 2021, 2022, I could see this being like an earlier one.
Yeah, like maybe they re-recorded it for this. They had it sitting around.
Yeah.
I almost had it. Oh, I almost had what this reminds me of.
Okay.
What an ending.
Yeah. Okay, to me, that was the weakest song on the album. Mm-hmm. But like I said, that to me sounded like the most like a song from Eternal Blue. So.
Yeah, it definitely had a different vibe than everything else that's happened so far.
Yeah. And I was reading on the wiki page that like they restarted recording stuff like late 2021 and then throughout 2022. And then I think that, you know, they released a single for this like at the beginning of the year or something maybe. So like some of these songs could be several years old already. Mm-hmm. And that one to me felt like it was a little more muddy mix-wise compared to everything else. I think the vocal parts were definitely way less defined in like the chorus. The guitars, especially at the very beginning, I was impressed how when this song first started, I was like, wow, that's really good definition in the guitars. Because they were not playing anything that was very... It was all very close notes, more of like a pattern thing, but it wasn't like a Meshuggah thing where they're clearly going like right. It was more of like a dun 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 type thing, and you really could feel when each note, each part of the guitar riff was happening, and I really thought that the guitar sounded really good. And then as the song kind of went on, I feel like the song kind of devolved into a little bit more of like a mushiness. But I think that's just kind of what the song was trying to do a little bit. But it was interesting because it sounded like a song off of Eternal Blue, but it still had that kick and snare that I've been enjoying so much. And I do feel like the bass was nice and round the whole time. And like I said, the guitars did have definition, but when it got to the chorus, everything kind of got very soupy, in my opinion. And her vocals were basically just like two words held out the whole time. So
if anything, I think it just, you know, it seems pretty clear that if this is not a song that was written years ago, then it feels like one, and it is just going to show like the evolution of this band in their quality and their ability to put stuff together just in the short time that they've existed. If it's not an older song, it sounds like one, and that's because it doesn't feel like it has the songwriting maturity in terms of like
of what we've already heard.
Yeah. And you know, how we talked earlier about once a band has been, you know, playing together for a while and they really get into the groove of themselves, you know, you'll start to hear an evolution of their songwriting and the way that it matches who they are. And I think that this is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Being, you know, from before. For
sure. And I think that this is way more what I was expecting the EP to sound like. And so my like my genuine, very happiness with how everything has gone so far is because of the differences between what this song and the other songs on the album. Mm-hmm. So like, and I'm not saying this is a bad song at all or anything.
Right.
To me, I think it's the weakest song on the album. However, that doesn't mean it's a bad song or anything. Right. So.
And the band that I have been thinking of is the band Issues.
Oh, okay. I'm not very familiar with them, so no.
Yeah, they have a lot of the same guitar tone and style, and they do a lot of. It's very rhythmic, like breakdown, like broken.
They're more of a genty band, I think, right?
I think so, but all of their vocal style is like really R&B, and so it's it's a really interesting combination of genres for sure. And they are still the only band that have put out an album that I hated so much that I sold my ticket to their show.
Oh, you brought that up before, like on the Music Room. Oh,
and it'll never stop being true. However,
that's too bad. Have they released? They've released good albums since then, though, right?
I think that they lost some pretty important players in members that were, I think, integral in making them very unique, and they've become much more of a vanilla representation of that type of music. Like they're just not nearly as interesting as they used to be.
Mm-hmm. What year were those first two albums that you liked so much of theirs?
Let me look. Yeah, their first really excellent album was 2013.
Okay.
The self-titled album, and then Headspace. Is that the one with? That can't be that one, is it?
I've seen their name floating around, and I'm pretty sure you brought them up before. To me.
Okay, so they had a Headspace in 2015, and then 2019, Beautiful Oblivion. And that was like right before they split, I think. The band announced a breakup in 2023.
Well, there you go.
And so they're pretty much done now. And it looks like there's some weird controversy and all kinds of mess going on in the middle here. I'm not reading. I'm just kind of glancing over it. But that 2019 album has one of the best songs that they've ever made, and otherwise is an album made of garbage.
And is it bad because you don't like the changes they made, or does it sound bad, or like what's the reason?
The album?
Yeah.
It's all just so stupid. I don't know.
Okay. It's not a sonic quality thing.
It's not. No, it's not a production thing. It's like, this is unlistenable. Mm-hmm. I'd have to listen to it again to get some really specific things, but it's like, we can play around with that. Maybe we'll react to it sometime. I'll show you like, this is,
or show me a good song and then a bad one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got one more song here. Mm-hmm. Ultraviolet, which is great because that's the name of a birthday massacre. Use Violet all the time. Mm-hmm. We also have In This Moment has a song called that. We also have just this year a band who I consider to be a great combination of Spiritbox and the Birthday Massacre. If you put those two bands together with Paramore, Paramore, Birthday Massacre, in Spiritbox, you get the band As Everything Unfolds.
Okay.
And their album that came out earlier this year is amazing. Very well could end up on my list. probably be towards the back half, but oh my goodness, is it good. They're an example of a band who's trying to do this same thing with a much lower budget and also with a much more simplistic approach. But man, are they doing it well. And why did I bring this up? Oh, their albums. They have a song called Ultraviolet too.
Oh, okay.
That's all. But
Great.
anyway,
Music Room episode 255.
Yeah.
Best song named Ultraviolet.
Yeah, seriously, jeez. All right, Ultraviolet, last track. Do we think this is going to be like a slow song?
Are the others?
No, none of
okay.
them are. No, none of them are ballads. I would guess, coming off of the song we just had, I would guess this is going to be maybe another heavier song.
I'm going to put this in the middle. I'll say it's more in line with the previous song.
Okay. All right. This is Ultraviolet in 3, 2, 1. Ominous tone. Mm-hmm. Ooh. They're messing around with reverse stuff, and I love that.
Love reverse, yep.
Yeah. This is like Linkin Park.
This is the final time I'm waking up inside
Yeah.
a dream that doesn't break enough of the soul I once was. In the light I once loved. I can see it shining through the trees.
Poppy called. She wants her sidechain compression back.
And hesitate to
Or she wants them to teach her how to do it.
in the presence of a cold emotional vampire invited inside. I dream I die hidden from the
Oh no. It's Imogen Heap.
Ah.
you wanna cover me in
Nice.
to a river flowing back in time.
See, now here I feel like the drums are trying to do something too much.
From a production perspective?
No, the drummer's just playing too much. I understand what he's doing.
Once again, the cymbals are just
Yeah,
barely there.
just
barely there.
compressed to snot.
Love these electronic elements. Though.
Yeah.
I can feel the end is haunting me. Mirror image staring back into a
I almost wonder if they made this EP because they just like literally didn't have enough to fill like a headlining set with just this, you know?
Oh,
We need like 6 more songs, people. We need another 20 minutes of music. Again, I know they had earlier songs.
I like most of this.
Oh yeah. This is Birthday Massacre very much.
Yes. That's why when you said this band plus Birthday Massacre, I was like, oh, well, so this band then? Like, I just almost not even be able to notice it. Yeah, that synth is so Birthday Massacre.
Is that it? Oh, boo.
Another long outro bit though.
Yeah, but
Well, you say the drummer was trying to do too much, but I noticed in that last part, in that last chorus, like the guitars were just almost like a continuously sustained
It was just one note, just boom.
And it would sit there, and then the drummer's doing the rest of the work. And I think that there's that's plenty of merit for that layout, for sure.
I think he should have asked himself, what would Lars do? And he didn't. I think that's kind of just a silly complaint about that, but I just feel like the drum pattern there was not, it's not the drum pattern I would use in that scenario, but I see what they were going for, and it's just probably a taste thing on my part. But that wasn't my favorite song on the album either. I think, yeah.
Well, that'll do. So long, everybody.
Those last two songs have kind of not disappointed me really, but that Jaded song, like nothing reached the height of that song in terms of like, this is like, damn, like the chorus was amazing. Every aspect of every element in the mix was perfect. And it just felt like a big crafted song that had all sorts of love put into it. Whereas I feel like then we have the two heavy songs, and those were really great, and I love those. But to me, the Jaded is like the standout song on this EP, and I feel like none of the other songs that weren't the two heavy songs. So if we got 6 songs, right? Jaded, Too Close to Hate, The Void, or Too Close, Too Late, The Void, and Ultraviolet didn't reach the potential of Jaded. And I think Cellar Door and Angel Eyes were amazing.
Yeah.
So to me, Angel Eyes, Cellar Door, Jaded, the 3 best songs, but Jaded reached like holy crap. And if they could have a whole album that like sonically sounded up to that standard, and that had that consistency of writing across a whole album, like amazing. And maybe that's shooting for the moon. Like, you can't, a lot of people, I got mad at people for wanting them to just have a whole album full of Holy Rollers last time. So I probably shouldn't say that, but like,
right.
I just think Jaded was so great. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And I don't need to compare it to everything else, but to me, Jaded was just like far and away best thing on this album.
Yeah, I don't have a ton really to say about that last song, other than the things, like I said, during it. It was very Birthday Massacre. It was very in line with The Void. It could be a situation where they want to put out an EP. They've got 4 killer songs, and they want it to be just a little bit buffer, so they pull out some stuff they haven't used before. And I wouldn't be surprised if, to go back to what we were talking about earlier, if their next album has those first 4 songs on it and not the last 2.
Yeah, maybe. I would be okay with that. I think,
because those last 2 songs are definitely EP fodder. Like, here's songs that we haven't released that are new, that are EP worthy.
And I could see a band like Spiritbox being like, well, who knows? Maybe if we release something, it might gain traction in a way we didn't expect, because that's what happened to them with Holy Roller, So
yeah, it happens all the time.
And then people gravitated towards their other songs. But, I will say from a structuring standpoint, this EP was interesting to me because every song had, for the most part, much more of a conventional structuring, whereas what they would do on Eternal Blue a lot was the first verse and chorus and second verse and second chorus were mostly sung, and then the song would kind of break down and then evolve into this like very heavy thing, and then that's where all the screaming was, and then the song would just kind of continue to build as the like screamy heavy part, and then the song would be over. And so which actually, oddly enough, is a song structure that the Birthday Massacre likes to use a lot, or at least they did it early part of their career. But on this, they didn't really do that. The 2 songs that were heavy songs, obviously those are, to me, those are kind of almost like in a different class because they're just heavy the whole time. I think that Cellar Door was like, to me, heavy in an unexpected way. Whereas I feel like Angel Eyes, that was the other heavy one, right? Yeah. Angel Eyes was kind of heavy in a way I would have expected it, and it reminded me a little bit of the other only screaming song on which is Silk in the Strings, I believe, is the other only screaming song on here. It reminded because it was
Just
a little
can't remember the name of that album, can you?
Eternal Blue. Yeah, sorry, I can't. Absolutely. But that is it was more technical, more of a technical showcase, rather than just like chunky heavy, like shockingly heavy almost. Whereas Cellar Door was like that shockingly heavy, like Holy Roller was, but it's like twice the length of Holy Roller. And
I feel like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like Angel Eyes is the heavier song.
okay. Yeah, I mean I
I could
definitely
but I
not
could
saying
stand
you're
to go
wrong.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember Cellar
Yeah.
Door really compared to the others. Like I don't really remember any of them. other
Well,
than
and
the one
also
we
that
just
was
heard.
for us doing the reaction like this. Cellar Door was our first like, okay, well, we can be relieved it doesn't sound like crap. We can be happy it sounds great. Oh, I'm extra happy because it sounds extra great. This is super heavy. You know, so we're like adjusting to what our expectations
Yeah.
were versus what it actually was in reality. Whereas with Angel Eyes, we had our expectations already set correctly and we knew what to expect. And it was just a good song. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think we talked and did a lot. We did way more justice to this EP than we needed to.
But it did a lot more justice by us than it needed to as well,
Absolutely.
so.
And I will definitely say that I feel way less like conflicted about whether this could ever end up on my top 12 after those two final songs.
Right.
I think that those first four songs, fantastic. And I think that they really showcase, hopefully, what the future of this band is. And those last two songs feel like you said, you made the comparison, like almost where they are coming from. So,
I've decided
okay.
the rules for whether or not an album gets to be considered an album. Because we have them in place, but I'm going to structure them in a way that we can just really, really hold to.
Unless we decide to break them ourselves. Right.
So we've got it needs to have 10 songs at 3 minutes each, or be 30 minutes of music.
Okay, I see what you're doing there. Okay. Right. Because you could have, a Tool album that has 4 songs and it's 57 minutes long.
Exactly.
Right. For sure. But the 10 songs at 3-ish minutes.
Yeah.
So what? So it's still 30 minutes,
Still 30 minutes.
but there's enough tracks to make it an
there's
album.
enough. Yep.
It's like 10 separate thoughts,
Yeah.
basically, as a minimum. And we need to say too that like, if you have then Birthday Massacre has done this, a 10-track album, first track and last track are like minute-long intro, outro.
They don't count. That's dumb.
Bull pucky.
I hate just make it part of the second track.
Yep, 100%.
I can't stand it. I don't understand.
Or like Lord
why.
Huron, and they have the whole album is 47 minutes. Are you kidding me? But the last track has 17 minutes of birds chirping and bugs making cricket noises for 17 minutes afterwards.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
You're a 31-minute album, not a 47-minute
Don't you
album.
come in here with this bull.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
All right, well, now that we've got those rules in place and we're coming up to our top 12 albums of the year list, if you've watched this video and managed to make it all the way to the end, thank you very much. Be on the lookout for our top 12 videos. It's something we put a lot of effort into every year. It's definitely my favorite thing we do all year long. This will be our 9th year doing this together. Next year will be our 10-year anniversary, so we'll have to try to come up with something fun to do. Maybe we could do what I did for my first 10 years and come up with the 10 best albums we've listened to over the decade that we've been doing this.
Yeah, I was just thinking that same thing.
So maybe we'll do
Also,
something like that.
Speaking of, based on those new rules, I would say half of my top 12 are not albums.
Hey, that's up to you. You can break the rules if you want to, but, overall, you'll know that you were wrong.
Yes.
Or you're in the wrong.
It's the children who are wrong.
It's the children who are wrong. Quit writing such stupid short songs, you idiots. All right, we'll let everyone go for this. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure if you haven't yet, go back and watch our Peter Gabriel reaction, because I think that's going to be a really good one as well. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you next time.